How many of you are on LinkedIn? How many of you know what you're doing on LinkedIn? You see the hands start falling? Or people turn into these Indian dancers, they go like this, I'm not sure, I sort of use it. So here's the problem with LinkedIn. LinkedIn, I think, is vastly underused and underappreciated by journalists. It has so many good and useful features, but journalists aren't using it properly. People think it's a place for job hunting, which it absolutely is. But you can't join LinkedIn when your company's having layoffs. It's too late. I like to say that when the plane lands in the Hudson, it's too late to figure out Twitter. You all know what I mean? When the plane lands in the Hudson, journalists are like, oh my God, we got to figure this out. It's too late. When your company has layoffs, it's too late to figure out LinkedIn. Because you don't know the language, you don't know the etiquette, you don't know what works and what doesn't. And you come across as desperate when you join LinkedIn. And desperation does not work on LinkedIn or eHarmony or Match.com. Right? You've got to be comfortable, understand the lay of the land, and participate. And so you want to be using LinkedIn when you don't need it, and building your network when you don't need it. One of the things you'll do is after this conference, you will meet people, you will connect with them on LinkedIn, I hope. And look at this, you see some people with their photos, and then you see others without a photo. You see some people put a line of description saying, hey, we met at the SPJ conference. You want to give people a reason not to ignore you online. So reintroduce yourself in cyberspace to people you've met in real life. The vice versa is also true. But this is very important that when you connect on LinkedIn, you say, hey, EIJ12 or something like that. It doesn't have to be an essay, but that's important when you're connecting with folks and building out your LinkedIn presence. Does that make sense to people? So please do look at that. There are some newish things on LinkedIn that you may not have seen. LinkedIn is trying to give you reasons to go to LinkedIn every day. And I think they've done a very good job with this thing called LinkedIn Today. You can specify the industries you're interested in, and it will give you the top stories of the day from those industries. They also have a section called Signal that you can go and look at, and you can find out what are the most discussed articles within certain companies that you're covering, certain industries you're covering. It's a really nice way to kind of get extra insight of sorts into what's happening out there. So I encourage you to play around with this. There are also parts of LinkedIn that you may not have seen. There's a section called LinkedIn Labs. Is anybody using this? So LinkedIn Labs does something very important. It shows you a visualization of your network for the first time on LinkedIn. So what I'm looking at here, each of these dots is a person on LinkedIn. And this is my wife's LinkedIn account. And what you're seeing is if you zoom in, you can see the name. If you zoom in further, you can see the bios of the people there. So I'm just going to zoom in here. And this is my wife's network. So suddenly you can see all these connections. So if I was doing a story and I needed help from this company called Cats and Bat Partners, I could now zoom in and see who's better connected than the others before I make my request. So you can see here that Seth has a few connections, but Nico has a lot of connections. And the nice thing is that it's Nico who is the co-founder of the company, and therefore he has more connections. So the social stuff often gives you, as I said, a kind of very light insight that you may not have seen or understood before. Okay? So this is under LinkedIn Labs. You can go and check it out. It's a new feature that they're still kind of testing out.